Okay, so today's YouTube is super simple. I'm going to tell you about some of the psychology tips that I've been given over years and years of not just training with some of the best athletes in the world, but also working with some of the best sports psychologists in the world, sports psychiatrists in the world. How I'm going to do this is I'm going to tell you the tip that I believe that could help you. It could be a tip, could be a quote, could be a routine that I believe you should start adding to your training. And then I'm going to tell you how it's going to help your running, in what way, what sort of differences you might start to notice. And then I'm going to tell you what to do. Moving forward, what should you do? So hang around, lots of really good tips, and let's see if I can start to improve some of your training and then personal bests. Okay, so my first tip, there couldn't be better timing than running across this sand. And this is just the run that I choose to go on, both because I like the challenge and terrain, but also because being out somewhere where, being in an environment where it's beautiful, you can remember that even though running is really tough, and it is really tough, so remember that, but even though running's really tough, it can be really beautiful if you're willing to maybe drive somewhere for a run, or, you know, go at a time of day that is like conducive to sunset, sunrise, etc. Now, the first psychology tip is about being soft. The reason I come to these trails in Hawaii, I didn't fly to Hawaii for this, but I could run from the house no problem. A, it's beautiful, but B, the challenge and terrain is really good for the psychology. Basically, in running, before you get a personal best, when you're just in this sort of training state, you're in this sort of like Rocky Balboa, you know, grind phase. You're grinding. And when you're grinding, you're willing to suffer a bit more. The decisions you're making are going to be like centered around what's the best training I could do to get better in the next race. What tends to happen when you run a personal best, or, you know, I think is it Mickey tells Rocky that he says, "You ain't been hungry since you won that belt." What happens as runners is you get a personal best, you progress, and then you get complacent. When you get complacent, you stop that grinding. And so the way to get it back is to pick, you don't have to go run hard, but at the very least, pick little things that are like, make it a bit tougher. Hilly, go run somewhere hilly. Perhaps include part of your run on grass and not just tarmac. Perhaps wear a pair of shoes that are a little bit heavier than the shoes you're going to wear on race day. But what you're doing is you're strengthening your psychology, and you're basically just saying, I don't need it to be easy, I want it to be hard, so that when I get to race day's easy. Don't get complacent, and certainly don't get soft. Okay, the next tip for today. I was up a mountain training with Mo Farah, Bashir Abdi, Olympic medalist, Paula Radcliffe's husband, Gary Locke, who's actually from Northern Ireland, where I'm from. He was helping to coach us. And one day we were doing a track session, and I was starting to really struggle, and I was gonna drop out of the session. So we were doing a mile rep. I was just about to jump out of the session and do 1,200 meters, and Gary turns to me and he says, "Don't you dare, get back on." And I get back on the wheel, he's cycling on the bike, and I'm really pushing. I think I'm gonna have an asthma attack. And I finish the rep, and Gary doesn't speak to me. And after the session, he comes up to me and he says, "What was that all about? Why were you gonna quit?" And I said, Gary, come on, I'm a marathon runner. I'm used to being comfortable. I'm used to everything feeling a bit easier, a bit more in control. And he said, Scully, do you think when Paula ran her world record, she was comfortable? He says, that's your problem. You just always want to be comfortable. So my next bit of advice is seek discomfort. Seek moments of discomfort every day. Doesn't have to be just in training. Things that just make you feel a bit uneasy, a bit out of control. And the body gets really good at like getting better at it. The body actually gets to a stage physically and mentally that it like craves being uncomfortable. And then when you're racing, you're like, I like this. All of a sudden, something that used to be a negative situation, you've flipped it into a positive. So think ice baths. If you don't like going on hilly runs, go on hilly runs. If you've started wearing super shoes too much, put them in the closet for a couple of weeks. Get uncomfortable, get better at running. Okay, tip 3, and it's all about developing mantras or little cues that when the going gets tough, both in running, in races, training, and in life, having mantras or little cues, we're gonna call it, like clicking your fingers, slapping your face a tiny bit, to help you snap out of the emotional and perhaps negative trail of thought. And so what you're gonna do is, life is really tough, right? Life is really effing tough. Running is really tough. Running is really effing tough. And so what you need is mantras were basically taught to me it's called change the radio station. If you're driving in your car and you don't like the song that comes on the radio, you change the station. A mantra is used in the same way. If I'm running, training, racing, and I start to get negative and I hear the thoughts coming, you're no good, oh my god, I'm getting tired already, I think to myself, F this station, I need to change this. I need to change this real effing quick. And so I repeat, I'm an animal, I'm a monster, I have a world-class running economy. Develop your own mantras and allow them to guide you through times of struggle. Okay, my next tip for running psychology or sports psychology, it's all about discipline. So many athletes lack discipline. When I first got kind of enrolled in the Sports Institute of Ireland, I asked for a sports psychologist to help me immediately. I'd go out for a run, maybe I'd be prescribed 10k at 4 minutes per k, and on the run I'd be running along and suddenly I'd think, I should do 14k today. I think some of the best athletes in the world do 14k. And so suddenly I would change that run from 10k to 14k. I would allow my emotions to make a decision for me, but there was a complete lack of discipline. Then what happens is, on race day, you have this really good plan. I'm going to sit at this pace, at halfway I'm going to go through in this time, and then what do? You do exactly what you've been doing in training. So the gun goes, your brain gives you this kind of like great idea. Your brain goes, ah, Scully, I know you had this great plan, I know that was going to lead to a great race, but hey, I think we could go with that faster group today. I ran Dublin Marathon twice. First time I did it, I let my emotions get the better of me. I was leading. The plan was to hold back in the first half. I pushed the first half because I let my emotions get the better of me. I went from leading to, I think, 12th place maybe. I fell apart. I think I was going to run 2:13 or 2:14, and I literally fell apart. There was no discipline. I came back, I think 2 years later, I wrote discipline, patience up the left inside of my arm. I hung back for the first half. I went from 12th to 2nd. Practice discipline. So Jurassic Park was filmed in Hawaii, and I love this because this is like, oh, if I can work it, this is like the bird cage. Like, I'm not kidding, we've just entered the bird cage. I'll show you some of the big birds if I can, but I don't like to upset them. Okay, so your next tip for today is all about patience, and then how you could use planning, and I mean plan everything, like everything, to help with patience. So to be good at running, it takes time. You have to build layers and layers of fitness. Each year, you can only progress a certain amount, no matter almost how hard you train or how much you train. So you have to enjoy the process. You have to decide that I love running enough that I'm patient, you know? I don't mind if I don't progress super quickly, so long as I know I'm doing everything I can to progress. So I had to develop patience because I was training with some of these best athletes in the world that were crushing me, way better than me. And I was so eager to get better, so willing to work hard, but not willing to be patient. I kept getting injured, I kept getting tired. I was trying to force the fitness to come. Fitness doesn't work that way. It comes gradually. So you have to develop patience. And so how you use planning to help with this patience is every day you wake up, you have a clear understanding of what your training is for that day. And you stick to it. So you wake up, you know that in this logical and this patient plan, it says 12K and 4K of that is a little bit steadier. So you've got 8K easy, 4K steady. In your plan, you make sure for the day, you write down, I'm gonna stick to that. That's your discipline. And so you've got your plan, which is built via logical thinking, and the plan is set up to allow for patience. And then you've got your discipline to support the fact that you're actually going to stick to the plan. And this plan over time is going to make you a far better athlete than trying to rush the process. Now, let me pause my watch for a second because this is just ridiculous. I also have a feeling when I turn, the light's gonna be better, but I don't know. I can't make every video like the best light in the world and the best audio in the world and all the fancy videography. I just want to help people get better. I just want to help people be able to handle the stress that running brings, you know, that running's really tough. Running has beat me up good over the years, and if I can teach people just little tips, little tricks, things I've learned from, you know, these absolute titans of the sport, the Olympic champions, you know, the world-class running groups, I don't know, I think that's a really cool thing. I think I'll be more proud of how many athletes or runners I perhaps impact in a positive way than I will be of my running results. And I ran 2:09, that's pretty cool, that's pretty fast. But I care more about helping people than I do about, like, I don't know, a fancy time on a piece of paper. But I actually feel like I might have to go back because I have a Zoom call which is about a recovery workshop for athletes. So, but I'll go a little bit down and then I'll go back. Let's keep going. Let's leave the bird cage. Okay, so I have two more tips. The next tip was a bit like the planning part of your day, but it's not planning, it's journaling. You need to see journaling as your, like, call it like your safety mechanism, but it's a place that you can express what you're feeling in whatever format you want. If I'm not feeling good when I'm training, or something in life is beating me up pretty good, I journal. And I often write down the worst scenarios. I hate life because of this. Running's so annoying because of this. Write it all down, and then within 1 to 2 pages of like writing or whatever it takes, you'll just notice yourself calm down. And I mean, you'll have this instant sense of calm. And once you get into that space, because you've exercised your emotions is what it's called, you've basically taken your chimp out for a walk. But once you get to that, that's enough running in this direction. Once you get to that better place, once you get to that almost like place of calm, that's when you use your planning. And so you've exercised the chimp, it's went ba 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 ba, it's went all over the place. Once you've exercised it, you've done your journal and you've write down how much you hate life at that moment in time. You've wrote down how much annoying running is, or how annoying running is, and it's so annoying you're not getting better. Then you logically plan, what is it I can do to get better? How could I improve life? Should I be meditating? Should I be journaling every morning? Should I be going for walks without my phone to be present with nature and life? Start to figure out a plan how you can use your newfound discipline, your newfound patience, your newfound journaling. Start to figure out how you can use that to improve your training quality every day, improve your life quality every day, and the next time you're stood in a start line, you're going to be so excited to race because you're happier. So start to use that as a tool, and I'm going to start running back this way. Okay, so before we turn back, well, I've already turned back, but before I actually start running and get back to the vehicle, my final tip is probably the most important. I've worked with multiple therapists. I work with Michael Gervais, who is absolutely fantastic. You guys can look him up on Instagram, beast. But I also work with a sports psychiatrist called Dr. Tim Rogers, and he taught me about the choice point. You can look the choice point up, but the choice point is essentially, you have this person that you believe you are. It exists right now, it already exists. The really cool thing about life is you can be whatever you want. You can make a decision today to start moving in the direction of a different person, the person that perhaps you would like to be, and that's the choice point. You're either making moves towards the person that you'd like to be and give it some thought. How would they train? How would they behave? Are they disciplined? Do they care about meditating? Do they care about other people? Are they patient? Are they considerate? Or are they stubborn? Are they angry? Do they get jealous easily? Do they torment themselves internally? Do they beat themselves up? Start to think about who this person is that you'd like to be. How do they dress? How do they walk? How do they act? Tim taught me about that, and every day in my journaling and in my planning, I used to draw the arrows, so moves towards, moves away. At the bottom I would draw a heart, and then I would write Tokyo 2020 for the Olympics, and then I'd also sign it. That was a deal with myself to make as many towards moves as I possibly can and try to take emotions out of the situation. Please use it, it's so helpful. But I also hope you enjoyed this video. It goes through some of how psychology can affect our running. Sometimes we're not even aware, sometimes we don't even know, but you can get better overnight by working on some of these things, and you will enjoy it more, and you'll start to understand your feelings and emotions more, which will mean they'll stop tormenting you and beating you up. If you can, like and subscribe. You can check me out on Instagram. You can check out the new running school, you know, either at yourolympicsjourney.com or Jogging Room. But I hope that helps. I hope you gain something, and happy trails. Good luck out there running, and take care.